Today I come alive once more for the second time in the year 2026, addressing all my followers right throughout the country. This morning I posted on my wall on Facebook page, People's Anti-Corruption Movement, that I will be challenging James Marape for the leadership of the nation. And I did not mince any words. I said, and the reason being that we have the nation has failed in the last 50 years under 8 different prime ministers, with Marape as the 8th prime minister of Papua New Guinea. And if you look back at history, on record, Somare was the only prime minister who was elected at the polls by the nation. The rest of them had used the parliamentary privileges to hijack the election process. Now, we have seen that they have tried on lies, and in the last 14 years, from 2012 to 2019, Peter O'Neill was prime minister, and he couldn't get the census right, nor could he get the national identity. Now, James Marape had succeeded Peter O'Neill as Prime Minister in 2019. And after 7 years in office, he couldn't even fix the census in the... He could not even get the census right. We don't have a census to depend on for the and next year the country goes to the polls, and you can see that from the last 2022 elections, it was described as a failed election. It was a worst election. There was no polling in certain places like Taripori. There was no polling in Mount Hagen, and likewise there was no polling in the rest of the... So obviously you can see that there will be a lot of rigging, like what Marape did in Taripori and Duma did in Mount Hagen, and they will be coming in to cash in on the fact that they could use bribes to get members to elect them as prime ministers under their party. So my suggestion to all you aspirants is that you all join me in 2027. James Marape, Peter O'Neill, Allen Baird, Rainbow Paita, and who else is aspiring to be Prime Minister, to run in one seat only, in the National Capital District, where all the ethnic groups are represented, with all the language groups. We are all represented in the city. I regret to say that the indigenous Motuans have been displaced and have been marginalized due to the influx of migrants from all over the city, all over the country, seeking for employment and business opportunities in the city. But for the country to elect a prime minister, that candidate must run in the National Capital District to get the popular vote from the rest of the country in Port Moresby. So we cannot accept a candidate from Taripori as prime minister, because Taripori is known for its lawlessness. They're illiterates. They do not respect the democratic process, and they can't send somebody who can be prime minister, our prime minister, in the form of James Marape. And likewise, we can't accept Peter O'Neill from Yalabu Pangia, or for that matter, anybody from a rural seat. So Papua New Guinea must pick their prime minister by voting for them in the only seat that the Papua New Guineans can claim as their seat is the National Capital District seat. And I suggest strongly that all aspiring politicians should contest in the National Capital District. I challenge James Marape, who's lived in Mosby for more than 20 years. I challenge Peter O'Neill, and I challenge Rainbow Paita, and whoever else is aspiring to be Prime Minister to run for the National Capital District seat in 2027. I have contested that seat for 6 consecutive elections, and I will be contesting that seat again in 2027 to make my intention known that I want to lead the nation as Prime Minister, and all our policies have come about. And I call on all my followers right throughout the country to submit your expression of interest. Suppose you want a man, you like I'm a Prime Minister, you know can come legally can boost plus some Tari Pori or Teleformin or Karamu no man, and I thought you like I'm a Prime Minister. You like I'm a Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea, you run inside the National Capital District. Now Papua New Guinea must vote him you like I'm a Prime Minister, whether you lead him Pangu Party or you lead him Wenenken Party Blue, not important. But if you want to be Prime Minister of this country, you run in the only seat that should qualify you as Prime Minister, and that's the nation's capital district, Port Moresby. If you don't run for an NCD, you should disqualify yourself as a candidate for that. If you don't contest the National Capital District, you should disqualify yourself for the position of Prime Minister, because you cannot represent primitives. I made it public. I am challenging James